You stay late at work again. The office is quieter now. Lights dimmed. Most people already gone home. You finish one more task before shutting down your computer, telling yourself it matters, that effort always matters. A few weeks later, your performance review arrives. It's positive. You get a raise. For a moment, it feels like progress. Then life catches up. Rent increases, insurance renews at a higher rate, groceries cost more than they did last year. Within months, the extra money disappears into expenses you didn't choose. Nothing went wrong, but somehow nothing really improved either. And that quiet realization is becoming familiar to more people than anyone expected. For decades, the formula seemed simple. Work hard, improve your skills, stay reliable, and your standard of living would rise over time. That belief shaped how people approached education, careers, and long-term planning. Effort was supposed to compound. Each promotion moved you forward. Each year of experience built stability. Even when jobs were stressful, the expectation of progress made the stress feel meaningful. Today, many workers still follow that same formula, but the results feel different. Productivity has increased across industries. Technology allows individuals to do more work than ever before. Communication never stops. Deadlines move faster. Expectations grow. Yet the emotional reward that once came from working harder feels weaker. People are not necessarily earning less in absolute terms, but their effort no longer creates the same sense of advancement. You see it in everyday conversations. Someone lands a higher-paying job, but feels no more secure than before. Another finishes a degree only to discover entry-level positions now require experience that used to come later in a career. Promotions feel smaller because costs rise alongside them. Instead of feeling ahead, many people feel like they are running just fast enough to stay in place. Part of this shift comes from how expenses have changed. Certain costs, housing, healthcare, education, now consume a larger portion of income than they did for previous generations. These aren't optional purchases people can easily reduce. They are structural expenses tied to stability itself. When core costs grow faster than expectations, raises feel less like progress and more like maintenance. There's also a psychological change happening inside workplaces. The idea of loyalty has weakened on both sides. Companies restructure more frequently. Workers change jobs more often. Long careers at a single employer are no longer the default path. That flexibility can create opportunity, but it also removes the sense of long-term security that once made hard work feel like an investment rather than a gamble. Imagine finishing a demanding project after weeks of overtime. Years ago, that effort might have felt like building towards something permanent: reputation, stability, advancement. Today, many workers quietly wonder whether the reward will last. If layoffs can arrive suddenly or industries can shift overnight, effort starts to feel temporary. Motivation changes when the future feels unpredictable. This doesn't mean people have stopped caring about success. In many cases, they are working harder than ever. But the goal has subtly shifted. Instead of chasing rapid advancement, many workers focus on protecting what they already have. Stability becomes more valuable than ambition. Flexibility becomes more important than prestige. A reliable schedule may matter more than a higher title. You can see this shift outside the workplace too. Side income has become common, not just for extra spending money, but as a form of insurance. People diversify their skills the way investors diversify portfolios. The idea isn't always to get rich. It's to reduce vulnerability. When effort alone feels less dependable, people search for multiple sources of control. Technology plays a role as well. Constant exposure to other people's success changes perception. Social media compresses comparison into daily life. Even when someone is doing objectively well, it can feel insufficient when surrounded by images of rapid wealth or extreme achievement. Expectations rise faster than reality can keep up, deepening the sense that effort isn't delivering what it once promised. Over time, this creates a quiet emotional fatigue. Not dramatic burnout, but a slow erosion of confidence in the old rules. Workers still show up. They still perform. But internally, many begin recalculating how much effort feels rational. If extra work doesn't meaningfully change long-term stability, conserving energy begins to make sense. Employers notice this too. Terms like quiet quitting appear, often framed as laziness or disengagement. But another interpretation exists. Many workers are not refusing to work. They are redefining boundaries. They are aligning effort with outcomes that feel realistic rather than aspirational. In an environment where rewards feel uncertain, overextension becomes harder to justify. At the same time, businesses operate under their own pressures. Competition, automation, and global markets push companies toward efficiency. Productivity expectations increase not because managers want to exhaust workers, but because systems reward output above all else. The result is tension. Organizations demand more effort while workers feel diminishing returns from giving it. This feedback loop changes workplace culture. Instead of mutual optimism about growth, both sides become cautious. Employees hesitate to invest emotionally in jobs they may not keep. Employers hesitate to invest heavily in workers during uncertain markets. Trust doesn't disappear, but it becomes conditional. A year passes, and the change becomes normal. People plan careers differently. Instead of assuming steady upward movement, they prepare for sideways moves, pauses, or reinvention. Learning new skills becomes less about passion and more about adaptability. Financial goals shift toward resilience, emergency savings, manageable expenses, options that allow quick adjustment if circumstances change. None of this means hard work has become meaningless. Effort still matters. Skill still matters. Opportunity still exists. But the relationship between effort and reward feels less predictable than it once did. And when predictability weakens, behavior changes. People become careful. They measure risk differently. They define success in quieter, more personal ways. The deeper story may not be economic at all. It may be psychological. For generations, work carried a promise of upward momentum. Today, many workers sense that momentum slowing, even if the system continues functioning. That perception alone reshapes motivation. When progress feels uncertain, preservation becomes logical. So the question isn't whether people have stopped believing in hard work. The question is whether the meaning of hard work is changing. If effort no longer guarantees visible advancement, people naturally redefine what effort is for. Not endless growth, but stability. Not chasing more, but protecting enough. And that shift, happening quietly across millions of individual decisions, may explain why so many people feel exhausted despite doing everything they were told would lead to success. The system hasn't stopped moving. But for many, it feels like the distance traveled with each step has grown shorter. And learning how to move forward in that new reality may become one of the defining challenges of this generation.